police using us as target practice for taser, for their batons, for stop and search, for palmer spray. Enough is enough!
Hi guys, it's your girl Jeanette, and today I'm gonna be talking about Black Lives Matter. And people, we want to sit here and act like we are the only victims because we've been seen as a threat, a weapon, or anything less within our society. And I hate that people just want to sit here and act like they're the victims because something bad has happened to a lot of black people in the past as a result of at the hands of white people, you know, and because of slavery and all these things. When we use that word nigger, when we use the N-word, we are opening doors for other people to say that to us as well, especially when these words are embedded within songs or raps, and it makes it seem like it's right for anybody who wants to use that word to use it. And I don't know about you guys, but I've realized that especially sometimes when you're singing your favorite song and it has that N-word, you're most likely to say it whether you're white or black because you actually like that song, and especially if the song is catchy and you know the whole lyrics to it, you know, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we usually just say it out of the blue. So I just hate when black people use the N-word embedded within rap songs or music videos, and then they don't like it when white people start using it. Why are we using it in the first place if we know where that word originated from? Just like when a child does something bad, and instead of their parents disciplining them and seeing the wrongdoing that the child has committed, they start to defend their child and blaming it on someone else instead of actually disciplining that child and ensuring that that behavior doesn't continue on in the future, you know. And a lot of parents usually just defend their kids, especially in circumstances where their kids are in the wrong. Even white people too are treated badly within our society. How? We don't have to see it on camera in order for it to be a fact. But within our society, everyone is treated badly. Whether you're black or white, we are all treated badly to some extent. Black people are only just mad because of the black history. Our ancestors were treated badly, but we have this opportunity whereby we don't have to be treated the same manner that our ancestors were treated. We're actually treated a bit better than they were treated. And instead of actually grabbing those opportunities that we're being given within high-income countries, we're just sitting around talking about the black history and dwelling in the past instead of trying to become someone better within our society. We deny white people of the love and education that they really deserve from us by pushing them away and claiming that because one white person has done something bad to us in the past, then all white people are just the same, you know, putting them in the same category because we've had one bad experience with one white person. And that's not right, you know. Just because one person has done something wrong to you doesn't mean that you have the right to put everybody else in the same category. That's when you start pushing people away and then you start denying them of the love and education that they really deserve from you. Because it's one thing to research black history and to know something about slavery and what happened to black people during the civil rights movement, and it's another thing to actually really have a friend today within our society who is black and trying to understand how they feel and helping them to get through whatever it is that they're feeling. Because as black people, when we're hanging out with black people, we tend to dwell in the black history so much, and we tend to judge white people so much more, talking shit about them behind their backs, especially when we don't have white friends. And instead of just trying to become the best person that we possibly can be, our ancestors, if they would have lived within our time, they would have made the best of the opportunities that we've been given. But then a lot of us don't even grab those opportunities, but we let them fly out of our hands, you know. So yeah, I just think that black people, we're constantly dwelling in the past. I'm not saying that the black history is not there and it was not evident. It did happen and we know that it happened, but why can't we use that as a reason to become better, as a reason to do better, and to become the best that we possibly can be, instead of dwelling in it and allowing it to put us down and to not let us grow within our lives. Because in your life you want to grow and you want to become the best person that you possibly can be, instead of being instead of just living a life where you feel like you have to work for other people, or you're like a slave. Pushing white people away from you and treating them badly, it might not be as bad. Treating white people badly and denying them of the love and education that they really deserve by pushing them away from you and not allowing them to understand and be a part of your lives. You're allowing them to continue to live in the same mentality that they previously were living in. Because some people, when they try to be friends with specific group or whatever not, and they see that it's not working, they usually just give up. It's not the same for everyone, but for a lot of people it's a fact, you know. And the more that we push people away from us because we claim that they don't understand how we feel and all that stuff, then the more we're allowing them to carry on this racist mindset that a lot of them were taught as they were growing up, that was enforced within their minds, or a racist mindset that they've just adapted over time based on personal experiences. We're allowing it to continue to grow within their minds, and for them to continue to deny black people instead of giving them the opportunity to actually really get to know us and to get to be a part of our lives and to just love and accept them for who they are. Because I think people are just so caught up in the skin tone. What if we were all the same skin color? Would we then be talking about racism? No, we wouldn't be talking about racism, because it wouldn't be a thing. Because we will see ourselves all to be the same skin color, the same race, and we wouldn't have to be talking about the color of our skin. But people have used the color of their skin as an excuse for other things. Yes, it's not right for a cop to arrest someone who's unarmed, but sometimes they assume that that person is doing something bad. It might not be as bad as the police brutality that has taken place within our society towards people of color, but it's just as bad, you know, because you're pushing someone away from you. You're denying someone of something that they actually need in order to understand black people. Because knowing something about black history is one thing, and actually getting to experience someone who is black within your life is another thing. It gives you a better understanding and more knowledge as to why they feel the way that they feel, especially within today's generation, because our ancestors may have felt or experienced different things from what we're experiencing today. We can't be, as black people, we can't be on the same page, nor can we even stand being in the same room. But then all of a sudden, because of the death of one man, we want to all of a sudden, because of the death of one black man, we want to fight for Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, and all lives do matter within our society. We don't have to not even be on the same page, nor can we stand being in the same room as one another within our society. But then all of a sudden we want to fight for Black Lives Matter. You know, it doesn't make sense. I'm confused. Are we fighting for equality, which means to be treated the same as white people within our society, or are we fighting for power, like superiority, which is being more superior than white people and treating and letting them experience the same thing that we have to experience today as black people, because we feel like they're more superior than we are? Are we fighting for that, or are we fighting for equality, which is like when a black person equality, which is being treated the same regardless of the color of our skin, but being treated the same within our society and being seen as one instead of being seen differently based on the color of our skin? Because right now within our society, when a white person is caught doing something wrong or is assumed to be doing something wrong, they're innocent until proven guilty otherwise, which means that you have to bring 100% evidence to the court in order for the court to believe that this person is guilty of the crime that they may have committed. So it's not guaranteed until there's actually 100% doubt in order to support the fact that this person is actually guilty for the crime that they have been accused of committing. So if there is not 100% evidence within the court system, then the white person can be walking around the street, killing more people, doing as they please within the streets, and living a normal life. Whereas when a black person is caught doing something wrong, or they assume to be doing something wrong, they are automatically guilty until proven innocent, which means that you have to bring enough evidence to the court in order to actually tell the court, you know what, this person is not guilty for the crime which they've been accused of. So then they can actually go home and they can go home and live a normal life, you know. So which means that, which is what we call equality, you know. There's other things alongside it. It's not just that, but that's just one example that I'm just giving you. So are we fighting for that, or are we fighting for power? Because if we're fighting for power, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be, I don't want nobody telling me nothing about it, because I'm just so sick and tired of this, of how black people are blaming white people for everything. When a white person kills a black man, people start blaming the white human race. They start blaming everybody who's white, instead of actually acknowledging that there are some white people that actually have a good heart and they have good intentions towards black people, and they don't hate us, but they want what's best for us. And there are some white people that don't care at all they don't care at all for black people, and they'd rather see us suffer and go through personal hardships and just laugh at us or mock us. They'd rather laugh at us or be mocking us instead of actually trying to help us out. So we can't put everybody in the same category. Like I said before, this is what everybody is guilty of. Okay, I don't know, maybe this is what a lot of people are guilty of, putting people in the same category because you've had one bad experience with one person of that race or of that community, tribe. For whatsoever reason, you then want to put everybody in the same category, which is not right, you know, because then you're depriving people of the ability to be educated, depriving people of the ability to actually understand you and be a part of your life, all for the sake of one bad experience. Because like when a black person kills a black person, it's not a thing within our society. People let it slide. People mourn and grieve about it for a little bit, but then they let it slide, all because the person is black. Then it's no big deal. But then when a white person kills a black person, all of a sudden it's a big deal, because that's racism right there. They did it because they don't like black people, because they don't like us. They see us as a weapon, they see us as this, they see us as that, and they want to wipe us away from the surface of the earth. They want to wipe black people completely off the surface of the earth so that they can be the only ones remaining, like what Hitler wanted, the Aryan race, people with blue eyes and blonde hair and specific features. So but then when black people kill black people, when a black person kills a black person, it's all of a sudden it's alright because we're both black, so therefore we should understand why we did that. It's not right, you know. If you don't want a white person killing a black person, then black people shouldn't be killing each other to begin off with, because we make ourselves look bad when we do stuff like that. Because when we start fighting for equality, when we start fighting for things that we personally believe in, a lot of white people just see it as a way for us to do bad things within our society. Now, a lot of white people just don't want to be involved within that, because they know what black people are capable of, especially within the criminal justice system, because they have to deal with a lot of those cases where a black person has killed a black person. So in my own opinion, I think that it's obvious that not everybody who was at the rally for George was actually there for the sake of the Black Lives Matter movement, or for that rally that was held about Black Lives Matter. A lot of people were not there for that same reason, which is why I think when black people are not on the same page, when we're not on the same page, we're not all fighting for the same thing, we're all fighting for different things that we personally believe in, which makes it so hard for the Black Lives Matter movement to be taken seriously within our society. Because people are like, you know what, hang on, they're not all fighting for the same thing. Some people went there for the wrong reason. Like, people went there for the wrong reasons, like in order to bring chaos or commit violence, or just doing things that are basically against the law, while other people were there for in order to get justice for George's death, and other people were there for their own personal reasons, or because just didn't want to be stuck inside the house. Because who wants to be inside the house, especially during quarantine? No one does. People just want to be out, free and about, free, roaming the streets and doing as they please, instead of being inside the house and protecting themselves from a disease that could potentially kill them. So the fact that a lot of people were there, not everyone was there for the same reasons, and that makes it so hard for white people to take black people serious, especially when it comes to equality. And that's why the justice system is as it is, because black people are always fighting for different reasons. Until we come together, think alike, and come to the same conclusions, and learn to love one another and accepting each other for who we really are, then this whole Black Lives Matter movement will never be a thing within our society. Nobody's gonna care about it, because even black people are gonna start turning against it for reasons that for example, George had committed a lot of crimes even prior to his death, or because they just don't care about it, because they think that black people are just using that as an excuse to blame white people for the things that they're not even guilty of, that their ancestors are guilty of, you know. Because just because the ancestors are guilty of that doesn't mean that they're also the same. Because there are some white people, like I said before, they want what's best for black people. They don't care about what happened in the past. They just want to get to know us and understand us and actually be a part of our lives, you know. Then a lot of us will just deny them of the ability to actually be a part of our lives. I've done that before. I went to a school where everyone was white. I just didn't want to be friends with anyone because everyone was white there, and I had been raised within a setting where black people were always constantly talking down on white people, talking about how bad they were and how they privileged to some extent, and they don't care about black people, and blah 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 blah, which shaped my mentality and the way that I viewed and saw white people for a very long time, until I went to Monterey, a school in the countryside. Opened up my eyes to love and accept white people for who they are, and not to allow my opinion to be based off what someone else feels, but based on what I feel. You can't just be a follower because you can't think for yourself. If you know something is wrong and it's not right, then you shouldn't even be engaging in that to begin off with. It's easier said than done, but when you begin to realize that it's wrong and you learn to have that confidence where you can actually stand up for yourself, then you have to remove yourself from that situation. Otherwise, you're just gonna be what everybody else wants you to be instead of being who you want to be. Let's be honest, if you saw someone get killed on camera the same way that George was, no, let's be honest, if you saw someone get killed on camera the same way that George's life was taken, wouldn't you be mad that the justice system did not take matters within their own hands in order to preserve, in order to serve justice within the? Wouldn't you be mad? Of course you would be mad, because then you see that as a way for white people to always continue, a way for white people to continue to take an advantage of black people, and then we're always going to be silent and not talking for our fellow black citizens. I'm not saying I personally don't support the Black Lives Matter movement. Even though I'm black, I personally don't support it, because I feel like even though it was created back in the days by our ancestors for a reason, but people have changed the reasons why it was created and allowed their personal reasons to. People have just taking things out of context. Maybe, for example, it could have been created for one reason, but then people are now adding more reasons as to why the Black Lives Matter movement should be taking place within our society again. Just like people have changed what was right back in the days and made it wrong within our society today, like things like sleeping around before marriage and whatnot. they were not right back in the days within our society. Even our parents didn't do such things. Only a few people did, or they did it behind closed doors where people didn't even know about it. But then all of a sudden, it's good to sleep with your boyfriend before you guys get married. It's good for him to know whether or not you can have kids before you guys get married, and blah 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 blah. But then things that were wrong within our society, but then things that were right within our society back then, like respecting your parents and so on, are now considered to be wrong. Like, you can respect your parents if you so wish, but if you don't want to because you have some sort of beef towards them, you don't have to. That's what people tell you in order to deceive you. That's why I'm saying that a lot of us, we were being deceived within our society. They want to see us angry. They want to see us at our lowest point. So they want you to be mad, outraged, and to explode, so that the only thing that resonates within your mind is resulting to anger and acting out of anger, instead of actually thinking about what you're gonna do next. What is gonna be your next? What's the next thing that you're gonna do? Instead of thinking of what's the next thing that you're gonna do and how you can better things, we just resort to anger. We just resort to violence and doing things that are wrong because we're acting out of our personal anger. They want you to be angry because of about the black history. They want you to be angry about the fact that black people are continuing to be treated badly within our society. But if you give into those lies and you allow yourself to be deceived, then you will not live the best life that you possibly can. In fact, you're gonna continue to be that person, the one that you're gonna continue to be a follower instead of a leader. You know, you're gonna continue to be a follower instead of being a leader, and you're gonna always be following and listening to what other people are telling you instead of actually thinking for yourself for once in your life. I just think that. Okay, guys, now that's just my own perspective on what I think about the Black Lives Matter. There is another general perspective that I had beforehand, which I thought that which changed over time as I continued to watch more as I continued to watch other people's perspectives on the Black Lives Matter movement, and also thought about it carefully, because I didn't want to just, like I said, I didn't want to just talk out of anger because I'm angry about what's happening to black people. I wanted to really think about what exactly I was gonna say, so that I don't regret whatever it is that I'm saying, but it's actually sincerely coming from the heart, and it's not coming out of anger, but it's coming out of just reasoning, because I've reasoned with myself and I really thought it through. Then I was like, you know what, this is actually what I think, and this is not gonna change for the longest time, and this is what I want everybody to know. This is what I want everybody to know in regards to the Black Lives Matter movement. I want everyone to know this is how I feel, and this is how I always feel, because I've thought it through, not out of anger, but when I'm in a good place. Thank you guys for watching, and have a blessed day, and stay safe while you're in quarantine. Don't try to do crazy stuff that's gonna make you sick or get the virus. As you know, the virus is not fully gone. Even if, like, you shouldn't fear the virus, okay? Fear God, because God has the power to do anything and everything, okay? So fear God, don't fear the virus, but just try to stay safe so that you don't put other people's lives at risk as well, okay? Bye, have a good and blessed day.